Wait, Becky Lynch said what about Finn Balor? And Seth Rollins' reaction was absolutely insane. What's going on? Wrestling vs. Family, and welcome back to the channel where we break down the most dramatic, most explosive moments in WWE. If you just clicked on this video, you're about to witness the full story behind the comments that have set the wrestling world on fire and caused absolute chaos in the Rollins household. Before we dive into this incredible drama, you need to smash that like button right now, hit subscribe to join the Wrestling vs. Family, and destroy that notification bell because we're about to break down every single detail of this situation. Drop a comment telling me whose side you're on in this drama. Let's get into it. Family, what happened on Monday Night Raw was not just a simple interview segment, it was a moment that created immediate shockwaves throughout WWE and has everyone talking about relationships, respect, and rivalry. To fully understand why Seth Rollins went absolutely ballistic, we need to break down exactly what Becky Lynch said, the context behind her words, and what this means for multiple storylines moving forward. So buckle up, because this story has layers. The segment started innocently enough, family. Becky Lynch, the man herself, was backstage for a scheduled interview with the WWE broadcast team. Becky has been navigating her own storylines lately, competing at the highest level of the women's division, and everyone expected a standard interview about her current feuds and championship aspirations. The interviewer asked Becky about her thoughts on the current state of WWE and who she respects most in the locker room. Becky started talking about the incredible talent in WWE, family, naming several superstars who have impressed her with their work ethic and dedication. She mentioned some of the women she's competed against, talked about the evolution of wrestling, and seemed to be giving a pretty standard, diplomatic answer. But then the interviewer asked a specific question that changed everything. They asked Becky about her history with various factions and if there was anyone from her past rivalries that she gained new respect for. And that's when Becky dropped the bombshell, family. She said, and I'm paraphrasing here but keeping the essence accurate, that one person who has consistently impressed her over the years with his evolution, dedication, and leadership abilities is Finn Balor. The crowd that could hear the interview on the screens reacted with interest, and Becky kept going. She talked about how Finn has reinvented himself multiple times, how he's led Judgment Day to dominance, and how his work rate and professionalism are second to none. But here's where it got really interesting, family. Becky continued and said something that had everyone's jaws dropping. She mentioned that in some ways, watching Finn's career evolution and his ability to stay at the top of WWE has been inspiring. She said that Finn's dedication to his craft, his willingness to adapt and change, and his leadership qualities are things that she admires. Becky even said that if she were building a dream team or looking for someone to learn from regarding longevity in WWE, Finn Balor would be near the top of that list. Now family, on the surface, these comments seem professional and respectful. Becky was simply giving props to a fellow wrestler who has had an incredible career. But here's the context that made these words absolutely explosive. Finn Balor and Seth Rollins have been bitter enemies. They've been in wars with each other, they've been on opposite sides of major storylines, and there is legitimate bad blood between them. For Becky, who is married to Seth, to publicly praise Finn so effusively, that's a huge deal. The WWE cameras immediately cut to backstage where Seth Rollins was watching this interview on a monitor, family. And the look on Seth's face was priceless. You could see the confusion, the disbelief, the anger building in his eyes with every word Becky said about Finn. Seth's jaw was clenched, his fists were balling up, and you could practically see steam coming out of his ears. This was not a man who was happy about what his wife was saying. The interview concluded with Becky smiling and walking away, family, seemingly unaware of the storm she had just created. But backstage, Seth Rollins was pacing back and forth like a caged animal. Other wrestlers nearby were giving him space, clearly recognizing that Seth was about to explode. The tension was building, and everyone knew something dramatic was about to happen. Seth grabbed a production assistant and demanded to know where Becky was, family. His voice was elevated, his demeanor was aggressive, and it was clear that Seth needed to talk to his wife immediately. The cameras followed Seth as he stormed through the backstage area, pushing past crew members, looking in various rooms, determined to find Becky and get an explanation for what she had just said about his rival. When Seth finally found Becky, Family, the confrontation was intense. Seth immediately asked her what she was thinking, praising Finn Balor of all people. He reminded her of everything Finn has done to him, all the times Judgment Day has attacked him, all the battles they've fought. Seth's voice was loud enough that other superstars in the area were stopping to watch this very public argument between husband and wife. Becky's response was calm but firm. Family. She told Seth that she was simply giving an honest answer to an interview question. She said that she can recognize talent and professionalism even in people who are Seth's rivals. Becky pointed out that she's praised plenty of wrestlers over the years and Seth has never had a problem with it before. She asked why praising Finn was any different than praising any other competitor. But Seth wasn't having it. Family. He argued that Finn Balor specifically is different because of their history, because of the personal nature of their rivalry. Seth said that Becky publicly praising Finn, especially regarding leadership and evolution, felt like a comparison that didn't favor him. The psychological element here is fascinating, because you could see that Seth felt like Becky was implying that Finn had qualities Seth lacked. The argument escalated. Family, with both voices getting louder. Other wrestlers were watching from a distance, some looking uncomfortable, others clearly entertained by this domestic dispute playing out in front of the entire locker room. Security and officials were nearby, ready to intervene if things got out of hand, but for now, this was just a very heated verbal exchange between two passionate people. Becky finally said something that really set Seth off. Family. She told him that maybe if he spent less time being insecure about what other people are doing and more time focusing on his own career, he wouldn't be in this situation. She pointed out that she's always been supportive of Seth, but that doesn't mean she can't acknowledge when someone else is doing great work. Becky's words were harsh but honest, and they cut Seth deep. Seth's response was explosive. Family. He shouted that this wasn't about insecurity, it was about loyalty and respect. He said that when you're married to someone, when you're partners in life, there are certain things you don't do, and publicly praising your spouse's biggest enemy is one of those things. Seth felt betrayed, felt disrespected, and he made sure everyone within earshot knew exactly how he felt. Then Finn Balor himself appeared on the scene. Family, and everything went to another level. Finn had obviously heard about Becky's comments and had come to find out what all the commotion was about. When Finn walked up and saw Seth and Becky arguing, a smile spread across his face. Finn said something that poured gasoline on an already raging fire. He thanked Becky for her kind words and said it was nice to know that at least someone in the Rollins family had good judgment. Seth absolutely lost it. Family. He lunged at Finn, and immediately security had to jump in to separate them. Seth was screaming at Finn, trying to break free from the security guards holding him back. Finn was laughing, clearly enjoying the chaos he had just amplified. Becky was standing off to the side, looking frustrated with both men, shaking her head at how out of control the situation had become. WWE officials managed to separate everyone, family, with security escorting Finn in one direction and other officials pulling Seth the opposite way. Becky walked off on her own, clearly done with the entire situation. The backstage area was buzzing with energy, everyone talking about what had just happened, everyone processing this incredible drama that had unfolded right in front of them. The implications of this situation are absolutely massive. Family. First and foremost, this adds a deeply personal element to the rivalry between Seth Rollins and Finn Balor. This isn't just about wins and losses anymore, this is about pride, about family, about respect. Seth now has additional motivation to destroy Finn, to prove that his wife's praise was misplaced. For Becky Lynch, this creates an interesting position. Family. She's caught between being honest in her professional assessments and being sensitive to her husband's feelings. Does Becky stand by her comments and maintain her integrity, or does she walk them back to keep peace at home? Either choice says something about her character and her priorities. The storyline potential here is incredible. Family. We could see Seth challenge Finn to a match specifically to prove to Becky that he's superior. We might see Becky get involved in some way, perhaps accidentally costing Seth a match or helping him win one. The dynamics between these three characters create so many different directions this story could go. There's also the question of whether this was intentional on Becky's part. Family. Is it possible that Becky said what she said specifically to motivate Seth, to light a fire under him? Becky knows how competitive Seth is, how he responds to challenges and perceived slights. Could this be some advanced psychological strategy to push Seth to be better? That would be a fascinating twist. The wrestling community has been having a field day with this drama, family. Social media has exploded with takes, memes, and debates about who's right in this situation. Some fans are siding with Seth, saying Becky should have been more considerate of his feelings. Others are backing Becky, arguing that she has every right to give professional compliments to whoever deserves them. The discussions are heated and passionate. From Finn Balor's perspective, this is a dream scenario, family. He gets praised by Becky Lynch, he gets to see his rival Seth Rollins lose his cool, and he gets even more heat from the situation. Finn can use this in promos, can taunt Seth about it, can make this a psychological weapon in their ongoing war. The entertainment value for Finn is off the charts. The real-life element of this story adds depth that wrestling fans love, family. Seth and Becky are actually married in real life, and while this is obviously a storyline, it plays on real relationship dynamics that everyone can relate to. The idea of a spouse praising someone their partner doesn't like, the arguments about loyalty versus honesty, these are real issues that make the story feel authentic. Looking at potential matches, family, this situation sets up several possibilities. Seth versus Finn with high stakes, maybe with Becky as the special guest referee. A mixed tag match with Seth and Becky against Finn and a partner. Or even a scenario where Becky has to choose between Seth and Finn in some kind of match stipulation. The creative opportunities are endless. The character development for all three is significant, family. Seth gets to show vulnerability and passion, proving he's not just a wrestler but a husband with real emotions. Becky gets to display independence and professional integrity, showing she's not just Seth's wife but her own person with her own opinions. Finn gets to be the manipulative villain who loves creating chaos. Wrestling vs. family. Becky Lynch's comments about Finn Balor and Seth Rollins' explosive reaction have created one of the most talked about storylines in WWE right now. This is the kind of personal, emotional drama that makes wrestling so compelling. When professional rivalries intersect with personal relationships, when pride and love collide, that's when we get truly unforgettable moments. What's your take on this situation, family? Was Becky wrong to praise Finn knowing how Seth would react? Is Seth being too sensitive or is his anger justified? Did Finn make things worse by getting involved? How should this situation be resolved? Drop all your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear every opinion. If this breakdown gave you all the details on this explosive situation, destroy that like button right now. Subscribe to Wrestling vs. CC for more in-depth coverage of WWE's most dramatic moments. Hit that notification bell so you never miss our content. We're your source for the best wrestling analysis. Share this video with everyone who loves wrestling drama. Follow Wrestling vs. CC on all social media platforms for daily content and updates. Thank you for watching, family. I'll catch you in the next video where we'll continue following this story. Until then, keep it locked to the best wrestling channel on YouTube. Peace out, family.